Well, hello and welcome back, my Royal Rogues. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Royal Rogue. And tonight we have Harry's blatant lies regarding his substance escapades, the writing on the wall about Harry and Meghan's contract with Netflix, which by all accounts it is not going to materialize any new projects, and an unlikely scenario in which royal family fans agree with Donald Trump on something. Well, let's start with the most pressing headlines of this week. Prince Harry may have lied about drug use to sell more copies of Tell All Memoir Spare, lawyers claim. I know this can be frustrating because this not only pertains to the pages of that awful book, but to all the times that he claimed in more than one interview, in his own words, that he had used hard drugs to deal with everything he was going through. This case is important because we want to know if the Department of Homeland Security is giving special treatment to high profile celebrities, and this is probably the most high profile celebrity out there who's been in the United States. And were there red flags? That is a valid argument. Who is trying to protect Harry? Who would win from this interference of justice? Now, we have to acknowledge that from the moment Spare was published 1 year ago, everyone, everywhere, all over the internet began pointing out so many lies, inconsistencies, and flat out garbage included in these pages. I pointed out on this channel, so it would not be surprising that all the proof that we submitted into the online ether will be used to dispel the book's credibility, and by that extension of his interviews, and not only the ones where he acknowledged the use of substances, but the Oprah interview as well. The problem itself is the medium. Memoirs don't need to be faithful to real events. You can make up as much as you want, as long as you don't get caught. But that means that you need to treat them with a grain of salt. Let's say that we are not talking about these controversial matters, but in general. Let's say that I asked you the question, how many times do you think that Harry has lied about anything? And I mean anything. My guess is that we could build a nice list with 30 or 40 well documented recollections that strayed too much from the real thing. You begin to see that a person lacking credibility could be a good thing for them in cases like this. Okay, trust in them is going to be at the same level as your regular Wikipedia article, but not more. But at the same time, that lack of credibility means that there's a reasonable doubt that the person in question did not do the things that they claim to do. Does it make sense? But Richard Eden pointed out something interesting. I'm confused. Prince Harry's publisher, Penguin, said his memoirs were honest. Well, if there is something that we know about Harry is that honesty is not one of his strengths. So a meeting with David Beckham fits nicely on this one. But no, seriously, this is what Penguin Random House had to say about the book. It offers an honest and captivating personal portrait, one that shows readers that behind everything they think they know about the prince lies a story that is variably inspiring, courageous, and eye-opening. Yeah, pretty much eye-opening as to how much of a bellend Harry is. Now, having said that, it's still a mystery that Harry has the ability or permission to work in the United States. Under what visa is he staying? I don't think he's got a diplomatic visa since he is no longer a working royal. So even if he's still a member of the royal family, he entered the country as just Harry, if you know what I mean. But there are many, many ways that he can get paid and just fly under the legal radar. For example, in his latest appearance at this event, he might have been paid $0, but a nice amount be paid to Archwell for consulting services or the like. I am not a lawyer, I am not familiar with US law, but this is something that more or less works in every part of the world. Also, there's the question if there is actual interference, so Harry got a pass from a Vogue. People such as Donald Trump himself claims that the royal family had been too soft on Prince Harry and he won't protect him as president. Well, you know that the topic of Harry and Meghan is something that is hot when you've got a billionaire, former president of the United States, with his own share of legal stuff going on and running for president again, giving his 2 cents about the ginger whinger. But maybe Trump only wanted to make a point about how Biden has handled the whole immigration topic. But it's funny to see that this is the moment in which royal family fans and one rather controversial figure have an united stance about Harry. And yes, he must be held accountable. There's little doubt about that. But how about this? Prince Harry's Invictus Games documentary drops in Hulu, despite the Duke of Sussex's being under a 5-year, 100 million contract with rival Netflix. The show called Prince Harry's Mission, Life, Family, and the Invictus Games is based on a series of interviews from the 2023 Games. Well, it's not the first time that Harry has blindsided someone, in this case, the poor blokes at Netflix. In news which seems to be a slap in the face for rival streamer Netflix, where he has a 5-year deal, an unannounced one-off show began streaming other Disney-owned rivals Sunday. The one-episode show is an ABC News special and includes this reflection: I love my family. Oh, how cute. Harry must have had to know about the interview and will have to sign a release form to allow ABC to use it. Interesting. So the Netflix executives have been left fuming after Harry decided to drop that Invictus special on Hulu. But the family reference is way too close to that trip to the UK in which he saw Charles around. How much time was it the last time we checked? Like 12 minutes? I don't know. What I don't know, I do know, is that it has become pretty clear that Charles is not interested at all into letting Harry anywhere close to the family. Yes, I asked the question a few days ago, and I think that it's been answered enough times to make sure it's a done deal, no matter what happens from now on. So we know that any claims from Harry to come back are just that, marketing. But my Royal Rogues, I would love to know what you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Royal Rogue, and remember, much love and bliss.